All right, the Miami Heat win a close one against the Utah Jazz. This is the Hoops Nerd postgame show. Really tough game for the Utah Jazz, who go in against a Miami Heat team that was obviously ready to play. They had obviously schemed out the Jazz and had a really nice game plan that they executed really well. Before we talk about what the Jazz did wrong, let's talk about what the Miami Heat did right. First, Jimmy Butler was incredible. Tonight he had a near triple-double, but it wasn't just a triple-double. It was, Jimmy Butler shot 54% from the field, and he was being guarded, there were two things going on. He was being guarded by Royce O'Neal as much as the Jazz could, so they put their best defender on him, but he had an incredible game plan that got Royce O'Neal off of him many times, or at least got him at a disadvantage, and Jimmy Butler was just monstrous. I mean, he did what superstars do. He finds a way to score when the opponent is doing everything they can to guard him. So they had Royce O'Neal getting screened off in pick and rolls and different things, and Butler just took him to town. And the other thing that they did to get Butler those points is that they hunted Bojan Bogdanovic relentlessly, especially in the third quarter. They went after Bojan Bogdanovic every single play down in the third quarter and down the stretch. They just said, we're going after Bojan Bogdanovic. He cannot guard Jimmy Butler, and they were right. Butler went to the line almost at will tonight. So Butler scores 12 of 22 from the field. He was 9 for 11 from the free throw line, but 11 free throw attempts. And that was a lot of that being guarded by O'Neal, who was off balance at times, and then just hunting Bojan Bogdanovic. You can go back and rewatch this game. Go watch the highlights or whatever, or rewatch it on League Pass or something if you can. But watch how whoever Bojan Bogdanovic was guarding would come up and screen for Butler to switch Bogdanovic onto Butler, and then he just went at him. And the Jazz couldn't really do anything about it. And you know what the biggest tell in this game, the biggest stat really, is Bojan Bogdanovic minus 18. He could not guard him. He couldn't guard him. And so that was tough. That was tough if you're a Jazz fan, and you've got to give a lot of credit to Spoelstra, who's one of the best out there. One of the things with the Jazz this year has been that they've been able to, in third quarters and fourth quarters, Quinn Snyder kind of adjusts, and they've been able to get big runs in the third quarter. They do things that gets them open shots and gets them a run. And tonight they couldn't do it because you're going against Spoelstra, who's one of the best, if not the best coach in the league. He's fantastic. So it doesn't happen against the Heat. And so the Jazz have to find ways to get those advantages. And, what you probably needed to do is get a better defender out there. And that's what this game makes me wonder, if you're a Jazz fan, is, does the offense from Bogdanovic outweigh the defense? And tonight, this was a blueprint. I mean, the Heat really kind of created a game plan that if you want to beat the Jazz in the playoffs, here's the thing you can do. And the Jazz just did not get the offense tonight. They weren't crisp enough all game. I mean, they scored at a pretty decent level. And I have to say that the Miami Heat had an incredible shooting night from multiple guys. But there's a blueprint there now for ways you can score on the Jazz. And it starts with Bojan Bogdanovic. And his defense just either has to be better, or the Jazz need to look at the trade market at some point and say, hey, do we need to have Mia Ione on the floor more? Do we need to make a trade? Do we have to figure out how to get something for something that can defend better against someone like the Heat? I mean, is there a way you can go out and get Lou Dort? Maybe. We'll see. Let's just check in with the chat, guys, and with our members. Jimmy played too well for them not to lose. He played really, really well. Love that emoji, by the way. Gonna admit, it was actually fun watching the Heat play so well. Don't get mad at me, Robert Hall. I'm not gonna get mad at you, Robert. I'm just disappointed. No, just kidding. You know what? The Heat played really well. Let's just look at it real quick. And then we've got some donations, guys. I really appreciate it. But look at this shooting night from the Heat. This is what it took for the Heat to win in like a one possession game that came down right to the end. That honestly, if Donovan Mitchell doesn't have a couple turnovers at the end and doesn't miss 2 free throws in the clutch, the Jazz still might have won this game. But you had Jimmy Butler, 12 for 22 from the field. You had, it's a dumb website. Come on, NBA.com. You have Bam Adebayo, 7 for 14 from the field, 5 for 5 from the free throw line. He had a monster night, really. 11 rebounds, 7 assists. He was hitting that jumper over Gobert. Multiple times it was the rainbow jumper, and it was going in. Duncan Robinson was 4 for 7 from 3, 57%. Kendrick Nunn, 2 for 4 from 3, 50%. Goran Dragic, 3 for 4 from three, 75%. Some of that is bad closeouts from the Jazz, and there was a bad one by Bogdanovic late, like bad. You cannot close out like that, Bogdanovic, at the end of games. You just can't. You can't, or you'll kill me. You have to close out better than that. You have to. Even Rudy's closeouts were better tonight. I actually was impressed by some Rudy closeouts. They were awesome. But 3 for 4 from three. Gabe Vincent, this is the first time I've literally ever heard of him, so call me a casual if you want. 1 for 2 from three. Andre Iguodala, 2 for 5 from three, 40%. That's what it took to beat the Jazz with one possession. Sometimes they're just going to beat you if they're going to shoot like that. But you've got to be better defensively. And they hunted Bogdanovic and then beat the Jazz with three-point shooting that just fell tonight. Furby Jr., $5. Hatu Zaj. Yes, that was kind of how our closeout defense was. Lose a tough game. It's really true. Ryan Perry, you're the man. Ryan, by the way, it was so nice to meet you the other night, Ryan. Thank you so much. $19.99, you are too kind. Thank you, sir. Need to make serious considerations about trading for a spark guy. I agree. I don't know who's out there, but the Jazz do have pieces. It may take a core piece. It's tough, though, because if you want to trade a core piece, like let's say the Jazz do trade Bogdanovic. Let's say they say, hey, you know what? Our offense is almost overkill at this point. Maybe we need to shore up that wing defense like everyone's talking about. Let's get back into focus. That's something they may need to think about, but it does take time for someone to gel into that Jazz offense. It's not an easy thing. I think it's probably a little easier thing for a wing to do. But Utah needs to think about doing it soon if they're going to, because you want to give them that time to meld with the team. It takes time, and it literally might take till the playoffs to get ready for that. And so, yeah, I think there is a need for something. There needs to be something. You need that dog on defense. And honestly, you know who I thought about today? Is it possible to get Iguodala? Probably not. I doubt they're trading him because he's probably a core piece of what they do. But, man, he's nice. And he was nice tonight for them. He hit 2 for 5 from three, which is not his game. He's not going to typically do that. But someone like Iggy, his defense changes the game. And he had some nice possessions tonight and did Iggy things. And Utah needs someone like that. The Heat are just like, this is the team that we kind of saw in the Eastern Conference playoffs. They're a team that has great depth. They play really well together. They didn't even have Tyler Hero tonight, and so that's a nice win for the Heat. If you're a Heat fan, you got to be excited about what they're doing right now, because they had a tough start to the season, and now they're looking really solid. So that's interesting. Jimmy Butler is just a stud. That's all I got to say. I love Jimmy Butler. He's one of my favorite players in the league. He is just tough as nails. He goes 0 for 3 from three tonight, but it doesn't really matter because when he has that ball in his hand, he can just get you tough buckets to end the game, and he did it tonight. He did. He missed a couple at the end, but I think he was exhausted. Tonight, Jimmy Butler, it was only 34 minutes, but they were 34 tough minutes where he was 33 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. Only 3 turnovers and a +9. For Utah, just a tough night. I mean, you had, let's go to Utah's stat line. Bojan Bogdanovic, it's almost deceptive. 5 for 11 from the field, 3 for 7 from three, so he's 42%, which is nice. 4 for 4 from the free throw line. He had 17 points. He was a -18. And that shows up in the defense and what they were doing to the Jazz. Royce O'Neal couldn't really hit a three as normally as he does. 2 for 6 is still pretty decent. Rudy Gobert was solid, 15 and 12. But Donovan Mitchell has 30 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. Donovan had a really nice night, 3 steals, but those 5 turnovers. And those late turnovers were just killer. But it's hard to fault a guy like Donovan who plays that well. But it was just not crisp at the end. The Jazz just could not get stops. Honestly, it was the defense tonight that killed the Jazz. It was the defense. Oh, and by the way, normally Jordan Clarkson, who's been so dominant and so good for Utah, 4 for 17 from the field. Clarkson shot 23% from the field tonight and 3 for 12 from three for 25. He had 13 points and was a -12, and the Jazz barely lost this game. So they found a way to slow him down. There were times where he was challenging Adebayo, and Adebayo is an elite defender. He just is. He's by the way, he's a better defender than Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. We'll just say that. He's guarding Jordan Clarkson in isolation and at the rim, that's elite stuff. from Bam Adebayo. It felt like we never shot the 3 ball. Let's check that out. Let's look, guys, in the chat. The Jazz shot 32% from 3 tonight. They took 46, so they actually took the shots. They just weren't as good as shots, and they weren't going in, obviously. So somewhat true, but not really. It's more the makes. Kenny Clarkson kind of cost us too. Yeah, his shot was just not falling. So great minds, Kenny. We think alike. Robert Hall, probably wait for any trade to offseason. Maybe, but actually this is something I want to talk about. This is the window. This is the window. You know, the windows just don't open up very often. Right now you've got Brooklyn with KD. You've got KD, Kyrie, and James Harden. In the West, you've got Kawhi and Paul George, and then you've got the Lakers, who are kind of hobbling into the playoffs right now with LeBron, and then you've got an injured AD and Schroeder. And this is the window. This is your chance. You've got to take it. When you see that window, you've got to go. You can't just, say, well, we're really good, and this is your shot. And so if you've got a shot, you take it. And I mean, if it means you trade 1 player and 2 picks and you get someone like Lou Dort or Aaron Gordon or someone who kind of shores up that defense and can play good enough offensively or do enough things offensively that it makes it okay, then you got to do it, because this is your chance. Who cares about first round picks if you get a title? Who cares? If you win a title, it's like you beat the game. It doesn't matter. You've won the game. Picks and not hurting feelings don't matter when the title's on the line. And the title is on the line for the Jazz right now. It absolutely is. I just want to say again, Ryan, that is so kind of you. That's the best donation we've ever had. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it a ton. And guys, never feel obligated to donate. Never. If you want to, that's great. I appreciate it, but never feel obligated. Let's see. Let's check the chat. Brett Robbins, man, giving up all those points to a Heat team that averaged 107 was sad. It was not good. Not a good defensive night for Utah. They just did not play crisp enough. Oh, that's another point that I want to make. Utah is getting everyone's best every night now. They're the number 1 team. Everyone knows who they are and what they're doing. And so everyone's coming out to beat them. And the Heat came out with a playoff level game tonight. They came out with a game plan to beat the Jazz. They were ready for this tonight. They were just flat out ready. And that's what the Jazz are going to see. And so in some ways that's good, because it can help prep the Jazz for the playoffs. Like a game and a loss like this in a way can be very good, because one, it can prep you for the playoffs, just give you run. I mean, that was a playoff level game. That just flat out was. But it also can let you know, hey, look, maybe this is a weakness we need to shore up. Jimmy Butler is an elite player. Should have been an all-star, but I think he missed probably too many games to be considered an all-star. But Jimmy Butler is an elite playoff caliber, winning player. And you saw what he can do in the Eastern Conference playoffs when he took them all the way to the finals. And so the Jazz got a really good taste of what they are going to be dealing with in the playoffs. And it's just good sample size. Is this team good enough to win in the playoffs with Bojan Bogdanovic getting isolated every single time he's on the floor? Does that negate everything else we do? I don't know. Can they figure it out? Or is that something that, needs to set off some red flags? That's the question. And I know the Jazz are dealing with some, a little bit of off the court controversy stuff that I don't know if anything's going to come of that. But right now, Justin Zanuck needs to be making some tough decisions, and those tough decisions may be, well, there's nothing out there that's going to improve us more than what we are. And so, we stand pat and we feel like this team is good enough to go, or they say, hey, you know what? We've got to make some sort of move, because the defense has to be at a certain level for us to win. And, the Jazz do not have a top 5 player. Those players are playing for the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Nets, and the Bucks in Giannis. And Utah has top 10 caliber, top 15 guys in Gobert and Mitchell, but not top 5. And so you can't just rely on having, AD and LeBron like the Lakers can. You can't. Or like PG, and although I don't think PG is a top 5 player, but Kawhi definitely is. Kawhi and PG on the Clippers, they can rely on those 2 guys and then fill in the blanks. The Jazz have weaknesses, in terms of just like, well, they don't have weaknesses. The Jazz are a cohesive unit that is a team, is kind of a collective, can as a whole beat those top tier talents. But then if you have a weak link in this cohesive unit that is the Jazz, if there is one weak link, it can unravel the chain. And you've got to be sure, like, is this chain strong enough? Because like the old saying says, you're only as strong as your weakest link. And this is cliche, cheesy stuff. But you've got to say that's what the Jazz are. They are a chain, and if there is one link that's weak, you're going to have someone like Jimmy Butler bash that weak link until they break through, and they broke through tonight. Welcome to the channel, Joseph. Joseph is it Saker? However you say that. Welcome to the channel, Joseph. Welcome to Rookie Baby. Robert Hall, 199. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate it a ton. Donations all night long. Hey, I'll take it. I'm not going to complain. Furby Jr., you are the weakest link. Goodbye. Yeah, it might be. I mean, honestly, it's a chain link, and that chain needs to be strong with this team. If you don't have LeBron, if you don't have Kawhi, if you don't have, one of those guys, your chain link needs to be strong. Let's see. Jazz are a cohesive Borg with a Hydra head and Jedi superpowers. Maybe. Tonight, though, the Hydra got neutralized. They cut off a few heads and they stomped on the body, and we lost. So, Joseph, pronounced Checker. Glad to be here. Thank you, Checker. I will try to remember that. Joseph Checker. Matt Christensen. When do you do live streams for members only? We're doing about 1 or 2 a month. We did one about a week and a half ago, and we had 2 people, DW and let's see, and it was Ryan. Yeah, Ryan was on there. We'll probably do one in a week or so. And I'll try to do 2 a month. I'll try. It's kind of hard. I'm one of the busier people I know. That probably sounds arrogant, but it's just kind of true because I run the SLC Dunk blog. I do this. I have a day job, 4 kids, a wife that I like to see sometimes. So we'll try. 2 a month is the goal. We'll try to do that. And it was actually really fun last time, so I like doing it. So we'll try. Guys, not a lot else to say. It's weird losing these games. I'm so used to the Jazz beating everybody and beating them badly that having a close game like this is almost kind of fun in a way. Kind of like brings you back to earth a little bit. So that was kind of fun. Let's call out our All-Stars tonight. These are the guys that make the difference for me in a lot of ways. Let's see. All right, All-Stars. Let's make a shout out. Lee Christensen. Thank you, Lee. Shantheric, thank you, my man. Ryan Perry, appreciate you very much, Ryan. Justin TYH, thank you, baby. Patrick Okubo, as always, thank you, my sir. Robert Hall, I thank you, Robert. Thank you. Kyle Christensen, you are the man, Kyle. DW, Jazz going all the way, am I right? David Lee, thank you for being a part of this channel. And Jorge Arizaga, gracias, mi amigo. Lo mejor. Guys, it's just a pleasure doing this channel with you guys. The Heat are really good. This is not a loss to hang your head over, although it is a loss for the Jazz front office to look at and watch and figure out, is this something we can overcome, or did the Miami Heat find a fatal flaw that other teams are going to take advantage of? Because it was a tough loss tonight. Let's see. Let's just get these final chat things out. Let's see. Let's see, your only YouTube membership, you're my only YouTube membership, by the way, means a lot just to let you know. Oh, thank you, Matt Christensen. I appreciate it. That really means a lot. The fact that you guys join means a lot. And I appreciate it very much. Furby Jr., I'll upgrade to All-Star if we play head-to-head baloncesto. Maybe one day. I'm not very good. I'm okay. I can coach and I can shoot a jump shot, but I'm also 5'8", and I'm portly, and I'm 37. And I'm whatever prime I had, that's gone. We'll just say that. But I do know the game, and I couldn't coach. But anyways, guys, like and subscribe to the channel. I love all of you guys. You're amazing. All my members, whether rookies, starter, or all-star, you're great. Oh, the other video I need to do, I'm going to do a behind the scenes. I want to show you guys my green screen and all these things and how I put this channel together. So if you want to do a channel of your own, that would be great. Let's see. I need to help figuring out what my future Jazz tattoo will be, by the way. Next chat or live stream, I'll ask opinions. Haha. Well, I would say, and we'll end on this, that if the Jazz win the title, it's got to be some sort of Larry O'Brien trophy with a Jazz logo in some way. That would be pretty cool. Guys, like and subscribe. Join the channel by hitting the button right there. I will